Alright then, so, hello everybody, welcome back to Dynamic Racing League's DTM, here for round 8 at Autodromo Nazionale Monza. I've probably butchered the pronunciation as I usually do, but that is besides the point. A very high speed circuit mixed up with some chicanes. Gonna be an interesting one, produced some great racing last season if I recall, and we're hoping to see some of the same. As for the current amount of cars, hopefully we're gonna have some more joiners later on. We're already, actually, surprisingly enough, we've got more views in the stream than in the lobby at the moment. So hello to Ollie Polly in the chat, hello to Snippy in the chat as well. They're already claiming that I'm gonna be sued for missing something on during Broadbent's stream, or you missing that, Snip. I can assure you that probably will be the case, but nevertheless, a change actually has just been brought up by Ollie Polly or Sailor in the chat. I can't speak. Unlike last season, we're actually running the chicane variant of Monza, where the first corner is the chicane, as opposed to having Curva Grande at 180 miles an hour or so. Here you can see GRM Bandit going through it now. So this is the first time that DRL DTM is actually using this layout. Of course, before we ran the no chicane variant. So it should be an interesting dynamic. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Ha. End my life. Anyway, Bandit is currently purple in Sector 1. This is still currently the practice period, with about 6 minutes to go until qualifying starts. So now is a very good time to get some snacks, put the kettle on, all that good stuff, bathroom breaks. Because we're gonna have some fantastic racing hopefully coming up for you shortly. It's gonna be, in case anyone has forgotten, a 1 hour race in lap format, and it's only one race, unlike the Super Formula League. Tyre change is mandatory, but it's only one compound in this series. I believe it's the Racing Soft. You see Bandit currently on said Racing Softs with his hazard lights on. We're going to go on board with Bandit. So he takes you through a lap of the circuit. People already thinking there's going to be a massive crash into turn 1. Let's hope it isn't like Dynamic Racing League Super Formula when we went to Monza on that occasion. But of course, Bandit going down the start-finish straight. Coming up to the braking zone for the first chicane. Just have these extra graphics as well, taking the curves quite nicely, a bit of slide. And then running through Curva Grande, constantly gaining speed as you make the approach to the second chicane. Variante did something or other, as I shall officially dub it. And then the two Lesmos, the banking allows you to carry a lot more speed than you would originally think, but very easy to carry too much speed and just understeer off onto the grass or the gravel. Bandit doing a very good job to keep it on the road there. Now coming up under the bridge. And now coming up to Variante Ascari. Again, a very crucial part of the lap. Bandit doing a very good job through there. Taking a nice amount of curb and a very wide exit as well. And then coming up on the last little straight sections leading up to Parabolica, corner which the radius opens as you progress through it, so it allows you to get onto the power steadily. And that is a lap of Monza. Interesting to see the time set by Bandit and Nils. Only 14,000 separate them at this stage. It is practice after all. Here is Nilsman in the bright yellow nuke shot car. To go on to another lap. Already seeing quite a bit of action going down in the chat. Fantastic to have you guys joining us. So 148.303 by Nils at this particular stage. We have King of Talk who's just got onto the circuit. There he is, been giving blue flags as Nilsman, who's on a lap, goes through. So of course, Dynamic Esports team, a very strong entrant. Of course, they are the series organizers. We would expect nothing less. And of course, the mission winnow car of King of Talk, certainly going to be a competitive one. We know his pace. Yesterday in Super Formula, his race 1 was a bit sketchy, but his race 2 was a lot more solid, it has to certainly be said. We'll be hoping that this race will be more like the latter than the former. Making his way through Ascari, just trying to keep pace with Nils. Slipstream is certainly going to be an important thing in this one. Monza, all about the straights and how much speed you can carry onto them. Sailor in the chat saying, yep, it is of course the date of the Champions League final in football/soccer news. Specifically for Bandit, who's probably tuning in. But yeah, that probably would explain why there's less entrants than normal. At least at this stage. We'll have to see. For all I know, this could turn into a full grid later on. It's time for qualifying to start. We've just seen Alpha Nut, he's coming onto the track representing Audi. So currently 3 BMWs, 1 Aston Martin and 1 Audi currently here. The bright orange Texaco machine, certainly iconic to the series at this point from the Virtual Racers Club, as he gets the entry to Chicane 1 wrong, probably thinks we are back on the layout of last season. Realised a bit too late, had to reverse and gets going again. Well, bit of mistake going on to the second chicane, but recovers, calls it just an outlap. Nils has gone into the 147s meanwhile. So it's a 147.713. Impressive pace by Nilsman. Be interesting to compare that to what King of Talk can do. King has managed to do a lap around 4/10 slower, but has been on the circuit less time than Nils. So hopefully we'll be bringing you qualifying as soon as possible. I'm not 100% sure as to what's going on with the administration and the like. Big up to Vogel for liking my activity. Right, okay, so I'll be right back in a sec, just gonna... While I'm there, I'm gonna have to turn notifications off, because I forgot to do that before the stream. Professionalism here once again, because that is definitely a word. So hopefully now that some reserves are being contacted, it means that we can have a bit more of a full fleshed out grid, so we can have a more exciting race. Nils having to go straight on the chicane. He's improved his lap time further. It's now 1:47.386. He took the Kimi Räikkönen layout on that occasion. Oh, bit slidey, and he's into the wall. He's picked up damage from that, and he resets himself to the pit lane. Bandit is about to come across the line, so let's see what his time can do. What's it gonna be from Bandit? A 1:57.888. Oh, qualifying has started, it would be fair to assume. So Bandit is leaving the lane first. Oh, a bit of car merging. It's going to be King of Torque that leads them off. So it's going to be a 15-minute session as per usual in dynamic racing leagues. Oh, Bandit, oh, ooh, very shaky. Be hoping that that doesn't happen again. Is this Apple or Report of the Week? I have no idea what I'm doing today. I'm gonna be completely honest, but I'm hoping to enjoy some racing. That's why I'm here. I hope that's why you're here too. So we're going to be having the qualifying for 15 minutes, as I said. 1 minute of that is already gone. What on earth is Nils doing? Oh, he's just warming his tyres. But I thought he had suspension damage for a second there. Not the case. Constantly concerned with the likes of my own cars. Bandit is already trying to fight with King of Torque, it would seem. Or actually, it seems that King might be setting himself up to use some of the slipstream that will be coming off of Bandit's car. Going through some of the other entries now here, we have Spinny Boy Mika making his way down one of the back straights. He's driving for Nuke Shot Motorsport in a Motul sponsored car, as he usually is. TSR Stig is returning yet again. Very, very successful driver in this series, it has to be said, in the Dakwa machine. Still with that red roof, in tribute of Niki Lauda. And he's just sort of pulled off to the side, it would seem. Yep, oh, he's taken out a braking marker for someone. Interesting tactics, it has to be said, removing the braking markers. Oh, and King has messed up his lap, but he did get ahead of Bandit at that point, but it hasn't worked out for him, getting it wrong at the second chicane. And Bandit's gone wrong there, and King's followed him, just carrying too much speed. Bandit's reset to the pits. Looks like King might be doing the same. He's got really heavy engine damage. And it's now going to be Nils that'll be the first to set a lap time after that. I'm going to go on board with Nilsman making his way through Ascari. You can see the time finally back up on the screen after a bit of a technical issue. Just got Parabolica to go, and we will have the first time on the board. F's in chat for Q-Tip, race engineer of King of Torque. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 49. It's going to be a 49.2 for Nilsman. That's the first time set. What's Mika going to be able to do? It's going to be a 151, so 1.8 seconds further back. We've got Alpha Nut coming through Parabolica now, so what's he going to be able to do? It's going to split the two, so Alpha Nut goes third. And someone who's purple in that second sector is King of Torque. TSR Stig. It looks like he's gonna be setting some blistering pace in that R8. He does indeed go fastest by nearly 0.4 of a second. Good to see. Carbon's gonna come across the line. Is he? Is that to just start a lap? I'm gonna assume it is. Nils very late on the brakes on that occasion, going up to Ascari. Someone is very slow actually at, you can see there's dust at the first chicane. Just pick that out on the mini-map. Homesick Alien being a substitute for VRC Groot, so driving the bright pink Fujitsu car, again another staple to the series. Always good to see. Nils is about to come across the line. He goes purple by 1.1 seconds. That is a 1:47.7 by Nils. It's getting to the kind of pace that we saw him do in practice. His fastest was 1:47.3 if I recall. Alpha Nut rounding the last corner. Seemed that he was on for a personal best on this occasion. Will he be able to close the gap to Nils? No. Misses out by 26 thousandths. Homesick Alien about to go onto a lap. As it's actually TSR Stig still currently second. He's on an outlap. Nils is the closest challenger at this stage, and is actually right behind Nils on track. We just had to go back to the garage and change up some settings from what we're hearing. So everything should be alright now for the TSR Audi crew. King of Torque has managed to go third fastest. That's 1¼ seconds off of Nils's pace, but that is his first lap, if I am not mistaken. 17,000 separate third from fourth, and he's purple in sector 1. This could be a very interesting qualifying if King is going to be up in the mix as well. He's not that far off of Stig, and Bandit's certainly up there as well. I think everyone's still not found their limits as of yet. Perhaps Nils the closest. Right up against that gravel, but not clipping it, so good job by them. Stig making his way through Curva Grande. Where's Bandit on track? Bandit's been given a 0.1 second penalty. That's going to ruin this lap. And I would have thought he'd have to get rid of it before starting the next lap, otherwise it would be invalidated. He's choosing not to. So his next lap will be invalidated as well. He does improve, nevertheless, even with that penalty. So he's gone up to third. Puts him ahead of TSR Stig actually, so even with that penalty it was a very good lap. Alphanut making his way through the Lesmos is currently fourth. That's because King of Torque has reset to the pits yet again. As that was Carbon going into the gravel on exit of Lesmo 2. He was on a lap, so that lap's probably been aborted from that. So GRM Bandit, very good job to currently qualify third provisionally. Fourth, now that King's crossed the line, but again, a lot of the session to go. We've got around 5 minutes left to go here at Monza until qualifying is done and dusted, and everyone will be trying to put everything they have down on the tarmac and possibly a bit more. King of Torque still on an outlap. Dynamic Carbon just going on to a lap. He's currently 5th on the sheets. Homesick Alien, they're just going onto one as well. They're currently 6th in the standings. Mika has apparently gone purple in the last sector they crossed, which was sector 1. So Mika could certainly be looking to improve their time. They're 3.3 seconds off of their teammate, who currently has the pole position. So it should certainly be an improvement to see them up the order. We're going to go on board with Mika as he makes his run down to Parabolica. It should certainly be an improvement from the Flying Dutchman. Nice and solid braking. Perhaps could have ran a little bit wider, but opts not to. It's going to be 149, I think that was. That puts them 5th in the standings. That's TSR Stig, still 6/10 down from Nils's time. And in fact, King of Torque is really close to Nils's time actually. Less than a 10th separates the top two. So King starting to find his pace. About 3 minutes to go in the session. Things looking very close at the top of proceedings as King of Torque goes purple in sector 2. We're going to go on board with King of Torque. Can he hold this lap together? He's in the gravel. That's going to hurt his time. And he picks up a penalty for that. Does indeed opt to serve it so he can just go on to the next lap. He's going to be really disappointed with that. So it's not going to be an improvement on this occasion by King of Torque. Dynamic Carbon currently ranked as behind their teammate 6/10. So Carbon's actually sort of into the mix as well. Around the range that TSR Stig was actually in terms of lap times. Stig just currently in the pit lane, making some setup changes as per usual. Getting it done before the Parc Fermé rules kick in. Carbon about to round the last corner. It looked like they were going to improve on their time. They had green sectors going into sector 2. What's it going to be from Carbon? It's going to be an improvement. It's not going to be enough to change their position, but an improvement nonetheless. Finding his rhythm. TSR Stig still in the pit lane, so it doesn't look like they're going to be setting another lap. We have 1 minute to go in the session. Still Nilsman just about on top. Not much between him and King of Torque. Coming up to the sector 2 timing marker. What's it going to be? It's going to be purple. So Nils going to try and cement his lead as King of Torque goes green on that lap. Takes out another few hundredths. Not quite enough to displace Nils though. Nils just has Parabolica to go, and then he will have got the pole position. It's coming up to the 50-minute marker, so I'm gonna have to get the flag warning up. Yep, Nils didn't quite make the flag marker, so that's his session done. He doesn't improve in the end. It's gonna be down to what King of Torque can do. Those yellow flags, that's GRM Bandit. Is that going to affect King of Torque? Carbon goes faster. Carbon now less than 3/10. In fact, only 2/10 slower than Nils at this stage. That puts them up to 3rd, ahead of TSR Stig, who is still in the pit lane. King of Torque, surely the only person that can challenge. They're a 10th down on their own best time, and quite shaky going into Ascari. On the run down to Parabolica for the last time. He's going to have to find some extra grip, some extra pace if he's going to get this pole position. Coming up to the line. What's it going to be from King of Torque? It's not going to be an improvement. Nils has parked up. Some cars still driving around. I think that's Holmes Sakalian who just came across the line. They're the last car to do so, so it's going to be Nilsman who takes pole position here at Monza. Fantastic job by them. An extremely close session throughout, it has to be said. In the end, it was the Breitling car that came out on top. It's going to be King of Torque starting 2nd, and it should be Carbon starting 3rd. I'm going to have a look at the live timing here. You can see the laps of everyone. So only 3 cars managing to get into the 47s. That would be Nils, King, and Dynamic. Intriguing stuff. Maybe the race pace is going to be a bit different. We're going to have to wait and see. Mika currently saying he'll be right back, so that means that there might be a smidge of a delay. We're in break period anyway. There's a pole sitter. Somewhere in this shot is apparently King of Torque, and somewhere over there is TSR Stick. These cameras, man. There's Bandit anyway. And Alpha Nut, and Mika in the bright red modal machine, Homesick Alien, and Dynamic Carbon, who is in the pits. Mika is officially back. Everyone welcome Mika back in the chat or something, I don't know. And it's currently, I think that's, well, it's Nils's car trying to ingest one of the braking markers or something. It's ghosted, but who knows. I suppose that front grille of the BMW M6 could look like a mouth. It's like, home. That is the official noise of the BMW M6. Don't question my sanity, please. There we have King of Torque in shot. Of course, a warning for everyone to be very cautious into turn 1. It's going to be a very hectic one, to say the least. Hopefully everyone gets through unscathed and will be a-okay. Carbon just begging by saying please. That's amusing. Please no Punterino, as one Jim had once said. Of course, thanks to all of our viewers that are tuning into this. There are plenty of things that you could be doing, such as the Jimmy Broadbent stream, such as the Champions League football match. But you're here listening to me go on about racing. But that's fine, because who doesn't like Supreme Overlord Radish anyway? Am I right? Of course I'm right, I'm always right. King of Torque is back on the move. That Marsh was waving their flag, even though literally nothing's happening at the moment. You're gonna tie your arms out, pal. Mika having a go again. Like, come on. We is not have all of the day. Gonna quickly take you through the championships if my phone will allow me to click the tab. Phone, please. Phone, please. Technical issues. They're always the order of the day, but people have come to expect that, I suppose. Nils still just chilling. His car's still trying to chew on that braking marker. And I think we finally do have the championship standing, because it's Dynamic Carbon on 52 points leading the Drivers' Championship, Sailor in second on 45 points, King of Torque, who's been subjected to quite a lot of penalties throughout the season. He's on 40 points. We'll be hoping to bounce back. Fast and Loud, that would be TSR Stig, is on 37 points. Nilsman Polsitter is only on 20 points, which shows how competitive he can be, but how he's not been having the best of luck. D-Max, which was Jimmy, is currently in 6th position on 16 points. Gugasor Houdini Myers, he's going to kill me for getting that wrong, on 12 points in 7th, and Spenner also on 12 points in joint 7th. Spinnakopen 10 points, they're in 9th. I'm Groot on 8 points in 10th. Alpha Nut 6 points in 11th. GRM Bandit, they're in 12th and they're on 2 points, and Y Bears on 1 point, they're in 13th. We're about to go racing here at Monza. I did not forget. Things are about to get very juicy. It's going to be Nilsman. Polsitter is going to be King of Talk alongside. We're about to get racing here. Red lights are on. Green, 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 and the cars are off. It's a very good start by TSR Stig in the back. Look, he's trying to make up positions. King of Talk will be looking down the inside of Nils as well. Nils seeming to have it just about covered. There's a bit of a dive. I'll go 3 wide. There's Alpha Nut tries to dive. Car's forced to run wide. That's Nils really falling down the order from that. And it's going to be King of Talk, our new leader. So Nils hasn't picked up damage from that, but was forced to take evasive action after Alpha Nut tried a dive bomb from Narnia, making it 3 wide, but in fairness, it sort of worked. Alpha Nut's managed to get himself up into 2nd place, top of the Audis, and he's looking extremely racy, it has to be said, is the brain. So is TSR Stig in the Audi behind him, the Dakwa machine. So it looks like Nils is also going to try and make his way up the Audis down slipstream, but it's going to be Stig who's going to be alongside, going up to the run of Ascari. And surely Nils isn't going to try and make it 3 wide there. No. Alpha Nut defends position well. Bandit perhaps looking to get into the mix of this as well. Carbon currently outside the points in 7th. Homesick Alien doing well. They're in 6th. Considering he is homesick, he's doing a fantastic job. Looking like Alpha Nut is coming under a lot more pressure from TSR Stig. Stig, is he just about alongside? He's certainly looking for it, and look at Nils. Nils is really going to try and make moves. He's on the outside of Stig. He's going to sort of be boxed in. So Stig is going to try and make that position up on Alpha Nut. He's going down the inside, and he gets it done. Great racecraft by TSR Stig to box Nilsson, which dealt with that threat and allowed him to focus on Alpha Nut, getting him into the chicane. Will Alpha Nut be making a bit of a challenge as well, as here we see Bandit going down the inside of Nils. Nils will have the inside for the next corner. Hazard lights on for Bandit. Carbon's also all over the back of Homesick Alien. Look at this defensive driving from these guys. Bandit maybe going to try and send it down the inside. Doesn't quite do it on that occasion. Starting to drop back a little bit. It's starting to look like Dynamic Carbon's going to be trying to set up a move on the Homesick Alien and is looking to the outside. Mika's there as well. Mika's ghosted a little bit, probably serving a penalty of sorts, and Carbon does indeed move up into the points. Just trying to break the slipstream by moving back across the track. And that's going to allow Homesick Alien to challenge around the outside, going into a Parabolica. Doesn't quite work out, they don't quite get a cutback either. TSR Stig trying to break the slipstream that Alpha Nut's getting. It's not quite worked as of yet. I don't think Alphanut's going to be able to challenge, at least going into the chicane on this occasion. And King of Talk is starting to check out, as there's a bit of a scrap going on at the chicane between Homesick Alien and Spinny Boy Mika, so Mika moves up a place. We're going to get a replay of that. But here it was. So Carbon actually was overtaken on the straight by the Homesick Alien. Perhaps a little bit of a lockup from Mika, but then just managing to find room around the outside of the second part. That was very impressive stuff by the Flying Dutchman. That's Homesick Alien going onto the gravel, and Mika with a 0.4 second penalty. He's starting to serve that a bit more. The gaps are really starting to stretch out now. King Talk with a 2-second gap over Stig. Alphanut also dropped back a fair bit. It looks like Nils is starting to challenge Bandit. Bandit actually managed to get up into 4th. So fair play to them for that. Nils starting to look like he's going to challenge Bandit. Defends the inside well, forcing Nils to try the outside line.com. And Nils does break a lot later. Has he ran too wide? He has done, and that might end up with Nils going under threat from Carbon as well. We're going to a rear wing cam on Nils's car. You can just see the M6 in the back trying to do its best. Nils goes defensive. Carbon does break a lot later on the optimal line, but just about forced to slot in. Good stuff, good racing between these guys. Hard but fair. Yeah, it would seem that the gap is starting to come down a little bit between King of Talk and TSR Stig. Stig making up a little bit of the time. Now 1.8 seconds back. We know that the R8 is quite agile in the corners if it's got the right setup. A bit further back in the mix, Nils still coming under a bit of attack. Carbon is only going to be trying to force a mistake from Nils. Making their way through Ascari, pretty much single file. Carbon just going to be trying his best to get an exit. As long as Nils is in the slipstream of Bandit, I think he should be alright. Going to go on board with Carbon on this occasion. Car 24 of Dynamic Esports. Nils again just getting his braking wrong through Parabolica, and that is really allowing Carbon to have a fantastic run. But again, as soon as Carbon gets out of Nils' slipstream to make the pass, Nils still in the slipstream of Bandit will have benefit. And in fact, Nils is trying to make a move on Bandit, following him. Bandit goes defensive. Has Nils outbroke himself again? No! Nils gets the overtake done on Bandit, so Nils back up to 4th position rather. Bandit to 5th. So we're starting to make up positions after the qualifying. We're now going to go to an onboard of Bandit's car. His last lap was a 149 dead. It's going to look, he's just about thinking about sticking his nose in. Does well to not force the issue with contact. AC behind as well. Carbon all over the back. Perhaps a little bit of a gap, but that will certainly close up. Nils starting to actually catch up to Alphanut. So Alphanut, not in anyone's slipstream, is really falling into the clutches of Nils. Nils 6/10 purple on King of Talk's lap, so he's setting himself up for a 47.1 if all goes well. Slipstream of course helping him with that. It's looking like he's going to be overtaking or challenging for a podium position soon. Thinks better of it than to challenge here into Parabolica. Knows there's another straight coming up. Seems to get a decent run. He was struggling there earlier. Bit dust kicked up as Alphanut runs a slight bit off the track. That is a new overall fastest lap. Nils goes to the outside. Alphanut's going to have to defend, and also Carbon as well as Nils. Oh, they've run wide. Nils runs wide, and Bandit nearly does the same thing actually. And through all of that, the positions were as they were. It looked like Nils might have gotten ahead, but they have to let Alphanut back past, I assume, because they abused the track limit slightly, which is fair play, I suppose. Also, probably because they might have just not had as good of a run through that section because of that mistake. Interesting to see that Bandit and Nils making a very similar mistake to each other. Carbon starting to put the pressure on again. Mika's also lurking in the background. There's yellow flags. That's Alphanut. Alphanut is round. We're going to have a replay of what happened to Alphanut. What was this? This was VRC Alphanut. It was Lesmo 2, it looked like. Oh, the pressure just got to him and he CJ'd it. Oh, that's absolutely catastrophic. Lucky to be in the mid-engine R8 and not pick up engine damage from that. But it's dropped him down all the way to last. He's going to be kicking himself for that. Going back to a scrap. Bandit's still having to defend hard from Carbon. He's out of Nils's slipstream range though, so Carbon's certainly going to be looking to make an overtake. Already alongside, going out of Parabolica. Bandit trying to give him a bit of a Rosberg squeeze. Oh, a bit of contact. Onion barges. Gonna be a case of who breaks later. It's gonna be Bandit on this occasion. Strong defense by the American, it has to be said. As Alphanut does indeed have to come into the pits to repair that damage. There they are. Are they making the mandatory tyre change as well? Yes, they are doing. So, Alphanut's tactic from here on out is going to be just try and set clean laps and just go to the end of the race at this point. It's going to be the fastest strategy. Again, Bandit coming under a lot of pressure. We're going to go rear wing cam on GRM Bandit's Aston Martin. Nils, Carbon rather, looking to the inside, thinks better of it. Bit more hesitant than his teammate King of Torque is with the overtaking at times. Bit more measured in his approach as Carbon. And it looks like he might be trying one here, but nope, brakes early. Hoping to just get another run onto the straight. It's the safest place to overtake of the straight, and indeed a monster run from Carbon coming up to the start-finish straight. Bandit gonna hold the inside line, forcing one to the outside. Look at this. Again, bit of a Rosberg squeeze. Respectful though, doesn't push him onto the grass. And it's going to be Carbon going around the outside, is it? No. Looked like they might have done. Well, they outbroke him slightly, but it wasn't to be. Mika with a 0.3 second penalty. But he's currently in 6th. He's in the points. And it's looking like he might be gaining on Carbon a little bit. You also see Homesick Alien in the background. They've been doing alright. They were in the points for a little while. They dropped down the order. They've kept the car in one piece though. Unfortunately, couldn't really be the same said for their teammate Alpha Nut. Extremely unfortunate. It's just slight run over the margins of the track, and it just spat him out. He's setting personal best lap times as well on the new rubber and the slightly less fuel load. It is still King of Torque who is our race leader for Dynamic Esports. This is exactly the kind of race that he needs to put himself back in the championship fight and take it to Carbon. He's got a 5.5 second gap down to second place man TSR Stig, who's also a very strong contender. And Nilsman, after qualifying on pole, falling down the order, managing to get back up to third at this point. So, strong recovery by Nilsman. Bandit also having a strong race, the only Aston Martin here today at Monza, and yet he is running fourth quite healthily in the points. Oh, very slidey. Of course, the new physics changes that were released with the latest update of the game a few days ago, that featured quite a few changes to the handling of Group 3 cars in particular, such as making the Ferrari and the Lamborghini drivable, but it has been affecting some front engine cars in the sense that they become a lot more understeery for these guys. Carbon flashing his lights and looking to the inside line, thinks better of it. He's putting himself in Bandit's mirrors. That's all he's doing at the moment. He's putting the pressure on. I think he might be having a very solid run coming up to Parabolica though. Have a challenge. Does indeed try and pull up alongside. Gonna try and sweep around the outside. They're side by side. Oh, there's a slight nudge that could have ended in complete disaster, but no. Carbon just about manages to hold on to it. But now Bandit is going to be the one challenging. They're down the inside. Now it's going to be Carbon trying to give them the Rosberg squeeze. Carbon moving back over to their racing line. Bandit will have the inside for the first part. They're side by side, and that was fantastic driving and racecraft by GRM Bandit. Temporarily losing out on fourth, only to regain it. That's going to help boost his confidence a fair bit. What else is going to boost his confidence is the fact that Carbon has just dropped out of slipstream range. He's not picked up any damage from that slight nudge that we saw. I think that was just a light tap rather than anything extreme. They're flashing their lights, still trying to find a way past. This is by far the closest scrap on track at the moment. We're going to go on board with, there we go, the front cam on Carbon's car, making the way to Ascari. Still the hazard lights persist on Bandit's machine. Carbon able to brake quite a lot later than Bandit through there, the braking zone of Ascari. The Aston slightly better on the straights than the BMW. The BMW main strength has to come from its downforce. Oh, and there you see it in effect. Even in the dirty air, Carbon managing to get on the power quite a bit earlier than Bandit. We'll be having a run. Bandit defending the inside extremely well. He's going to try and squeeze his line a bit. It's going to be close. Carbon looking to try the outside. Can't quite get it to work again on this occasion. So the scrap continues. They keep swapping positions, but At the moment, Bandit's doing just enough to keep Carbon behind, and perhaps putting Mika into this scrap as well. I say that, Mika has a massive slide McGee, bringing me out of the second chicane. We'll see if we can quickly catch that. So here it is, the onboard of Mika. Just seemed to brake way too late, get on the marbles, and then just slide their way through. Kept it just about on the track though. Good by them, as Carbon's actually sent it up the inside. Runs a little bit wide. There's a smidge of contact between these two. Bandit's going to be trying and pass again. The Aston, of course, we know, very good on the straights, very good at Monza in general. And it looks like Carbon has it for now, as Bandit really runs wide. Just the understeer in the lesser aeroed Aston Martin. And of course in the dirty air as well, that's not going to help. Is he too far back to challenge going into the chicane? He looks. He's going to try it all. I thought he nearly outbroke himself, but he didn't. Oh, look at this! Carbon gets his lines wrong and just allows Bandit to slip up the inside like that. That was fantastic stuff. Let's have a replay of that. So look at this. I thought Bandit was braking like there, but Carbon a bit too late and then just sends it like that. That was absolutely fantastic stuff from GRM Bandit. Still in 4th place, but he's just picked up a 0.4 second penalty for more than likely a corner cut too far. Easy done on Monza, it has to be said. That's really gonna affect his time. He's gonna have to serve that penalty at some point during the race. He's just gonna be grateful that he's still ahead of Carbon at this point in the race. Another close scrap that's coming up. Stig and Nils. These two also practically next to each other. So Nils could be getting the slipstream going down the straight. We'll keep our eyes on that. Bandit actually serving the penalty in the braking zone of Parabolica. That's quite clever. They slot back into the slipstream themselves. I think Nils is going down the inside of Stig. This is for 2nd place. Have they outbroke themselves? No. So that is Nilsman getting up into 2nd place. Great stuff by them. It looks like Stig might have a bit of a run. Carbon has managed to get ahead. They're ghosted. But that is Bandit's penalty completely served, and now Bandit will be back on the attack. What can Stig do in retaliation to Nils? It's looking like he's starting to drop back a bit as there's more contact between these two. They're still just about side by side, and it's going to be Bandit that goes through. No damage to either car. We're going to see a replay of this. Oh. Coming up. Flashing the lights. And Bandit just goes down the inside and is very clumsy. Both cars avoiding damage, but Bandit's managed to get ahead from that scrap. Has picked up another 0.5 second penalty for this time cutting a Scari or running wide or something. Mika also ran a bit wide. He seems to be okay. And it's serving the penalty in the braking zone again. Just doing his best to keep in the slipstream, I think. He needs to serve the penalty when in the slipstream. And then he's going to go maximum attack and regain that position again, or at least attempt to. He cannot afford to lose Carbon's slipstream. Carbon's starting to feel the pressure a bit. Bandit's sliding a smidge. Got that penalty down to just 0.1 of a second. And he's still in the slipstream range, which is really important. It's allowing him to gain back time as they make their way through Curva Grande. Sailor already saying he's got his vote for driver of the day as Bandit. Bandit being his vote, I can speak. And again, the penalty still just 0.1, serving it slightly in the braking zones. It'll be gone sooner or later. Also, Carbon just about outside. He's broken the slipstream, has he? It's close. The straight line of the Aston should hopefully bring Bandit back into the mix. And indeed, Bandit back in the slipstream range. You can tell by the delta time going down. It's personal best lap so far by Bandit as well. Nils, in other news, is starting to gap Stig a little bit. The penalty completely gone for Bandit, and now you can really see he's just closing up again. The Aston's so strong on a straight line, and the slipstream certainly helping as well. It's the downforce of the BMW coming into effect as Bandit runs too wide, and that's dropped him out of slipstream range. That could have been the mistake that cost him this. Does he have damage? No, he does not. GRM Bandit does not have damage. He's just about dropped out, but he's really braking late. Look at the commitment from Bandit. Bit too late, but nevertheless very committed to his marks. The Aston gaining a bit of time again on the straight. Well, on the acceleration zones rather. Curva Grande isn't a straight, it's got curve in the name. Oh my life. I am extremely professional, I can assure you. So, can Bandit find enough pace through the Lesmos to get back into slipstream range by the next straight? This could be very important for him. If anything, it looks like Carbon's managed to pull out a bit more of an advantage. The downforce on the M6, very strong. It is a 2016 car, it's the M6, compared to, I believe the Aston is 2011 or 2012 spec. I believe it was 2012? I could be wrong on that. Nevertheless, it is older than the M6 by quite a few years. So it has lesser downforce. Of course, these cars will be set up differently as well, so perhaps it is just Carbon running with more downforce as TSR Stig opts to go into the pits. We're just about at the halfway mark in the race actually, so could certainly work out for him. He's going to try and get an undercut to put himself back with Nils. Where's he going to rejoin? He's going to rejoin in 5th, right behind Bandit and Carbon, but ahead of Mika. But he's got clean air to work with. Will Nils have to cover that undercut? We'll have to see. Nils currently with the fastest lap of the race of 147.394. All subjectional to slipstream, of course. Carbon really starting to put a gap onto Bandit. So, yeah, as I thought, it was mainly the slipstream that was keeping Bandit alive in that one. The downforce of the M6 proving to be just a bit too much. Oh, Carbon running even wider than Alpha Nut did earlier, that caused him to spin out into a CJ into the wall, but just not with the... I was very careful with the steering angle on the car, so it didn't spin out. Again, the gap continuing to increase. 2.5 seconds. Bandit really getting desperate, running a bit wide. Again, no damage on Bandit's car. Perhaps an undercut would be Bandit's best strategy in order to get back into the slipstream of Carbon. Mills staying out, King staying out. We're gonna have to see. Bandit stays out. So does Carbon. So, just over half of this race gone, and the standings are currently, as I say, it is King of Torque who is our race leader. There you see the car behind though, Nils, starting to gain. He'll certainly be focusing on gaining that time. He's probably more focused on catching King than he is worried about Stig's undercut, which might be a bit concerning, but nevertheless he is in second at the moment. Carbon is third, Bandit fourth, and he's picked up a penalty. He's not looking as comfortable with the car as he was earlier. I really think he does just need a pit for fresh rubber, see what he can do from there. Stig fifth, but he's already made a pit stop, so he should be right up with Nils again. Perhaps we'll rejoin in second, we'll have to see. Homesick Alien is in seventh. It was Spinny Boy Mika in sixth. Just sort of misclicked on my keyboard. But yeah, Mika sixth, Homesick Alien seventh, and VLC Alphana also made a pit stop. That was unscheduled, but they did make it their mandatory stop with a tyre change. Nils opting to stay out. Carbon still staying out. Bandit's in the pit. No, oh, he thought about it. Maybe he had a call from his race engineer or something telling him to not box. It did look like he was drifting towards the pit entry, but no, he is staying out. The tyre change is mandatory, so I'm surprised we haven't seen more people pit at the halfway mark. Yeah, indeed, Sailor saying in the chat, as Bandit actually goes purple in Sector 1. His Carbon's actually gone fastest overall recently with a 147.1. That was... They haven't made a pit stop as Bandits ran wide, and no, Bandit! Whew! Wall tap much, but he's picked up damage from that. Catastrophic mistake. Is going to have to get out of the way of Stig, possibly Mika as well. We're going to have to see a replay of this. He's running too wide into the gravel. I just spit him out. There's the contact with the wall. So he really should have just made the pit stop rather than attempt to stay out on the worn rubber. King of Torque meanwhile was coming into the pits. TSR Stig will no doubt be lap past at some point. Nils in the pits as well. So both of these guys now following suit with the strategies. King already on his way out of the pits. Now, the interesting thing will be if Bandit, yep, Bandit's in the pits. Where will TSR Stig come out? Nils comes out comfortably ahead of Stig. So the undercut for Stig hasn't worked out at all. Mika also into the pits. I believe that's scheduled. Indeed, he didn't seem to pick up damage. And now we'll be chasing down GRM Bandit for the last points playing position. I believe Homesick Alien hasn't made a pit stop yet. I think they are the last car to make a pit stop. Carbon up to fourth. fresh rubber for the Irishman. We'll be hoping to just sell into a groove, hoping he can make his way up the order and catch Stig, although it's going to be a big ask. It's on an island. There's 8 seconds behind, 7.5 in front. It's Driftmeister at half-time. What's happening? King of Torque is our race leader, with a gap that is fluctuating a little bit between him and Nilsman. Both of them pit at exactly the same time. So Nilsman currently in second. He was our pole sitter, but dropped to 4th on the start. And perhaps it's coming under a bit of pressure from TSR Stig again, who he did have to fight his way past. Stig was on an undercut of several laps, but it didn't work out for him. In fact, it seems that he lost time doing the undercut, so perhaps it was some kind of slipstream that was keeping Nils in the fight, or just keeping his pace good. As someone's gone off! Someone has gone off! Who's that? It's Spinny Boy Mika! What's happened here? So we're gonna check this. What's happened to late last minute reserve Mika? Was it just a case of, oh wow, that is really late braking. Oh my, just really messed up his braking and picking up extreme damage from that. He stayed out. He stayed out. He's not come into the pits. Oh, but he's retired from the race. Oh, we're hearing it's a wheel issue, so it's a real-life technical issue for Mika's car. That's extremely unfortunate to see. It's happened to him before, if you recall, last season in DTM at Brands Hatch. That unfortunate incident ended up taking out Carbon, I believe it was. As that's Stig in the back, running very wide into the gravel. Just on the exit of Ascari, it seemed. Look at that. So yeah, that's basically what's been happening so far. Everyone's starting to get a bit more spaced out. King of Torque still leads. That gap is really coming down, actually. On the fresh rubber, Nils does have superior pace, it would seem. It was around 4 seconds. King doesn't have damage. This might be concerning to Dynamic Esports. Nils certainly proving he does have the pace. He proved that in qualifying with pole position. Mika in chat. There is an F in chat for Mika, sent by me. Can we have some more Fs in chat for Mika? Extremely unfortunate wheel issue. The car just not turning. It also seemed like your brake pedal cut out or something, because it was extremely late on the brakes, from what I saw from my angle anyway. Nils has now got a 3-second gap to TSR Stig, so Stig falling back a bit as well. He hasn't got damage. All of this is just down to the pace of the drivers. I don't think anyone has damage at the moment. I could be mistaken with that claim. His wheels started turning always but the right one. Well, considering it was a right-hand corner, that's kind of the issue. Maybe you bought a wheel that was made in America where it only turns left. Who knows? It was set to American mode for that section. Anyway, Bandit, after making a bit of a mistake, is now coming back into the fight, but this time with a new opponent, Homesick Alien, only 2 seconds up the road from Bandit, and I believe Homesick Alien, the only car not to pit at this point. Indeed, that is the case. So they will have to pit at some point. Bandit flashing their lights from back there. You can just about see that at the top of shot. Alien will be losing a lot of time going, like, continuing like this, but it's the only way of him potentially to just keep Bandit behind him, at least for now. I think Homesick Alien, because he has a pit stop to do, he's really just racing his teammate for the last points playing position of 6th at this stage. I think Bandit's pretty much got 5th secured unless he makes another mistake. He's still got the hazard lights on. Not sure if he knows how to turn those off, or maybe he's just gone full Armored Core strategy and just running with them on all the time for the sake of it. Actually, how is Alphanut? There is Alphanut in a very battered and bruised Audi R8, the Fujitsu, no, the Texaco machine, this one is. Just because it said Fujitsu on the back. But there he is, in its majestic, bright orange glory. One thing I really do like about the Audi R8 entries in particular, they're very bright and standoutish paint schemes. Whether it's the Virtual Racers Club team, whether it's HK's Vertigo, whether it's TSR Stig with the Daqua machine, they all stand out fantastically well in the pack, and they all look fantastic. So great job by everyone actually on their liveries. Of course, even Aston Martin of Bandit and all the BMWs as well. Everyone doing a fantastic job of making the series look fantastic for the cameras. Of course, the sunny weather that we're having in Monza really helping as well. Homesick Alien made their pit stop that I did allude to earlier, so no scrap between them and Bandit in the end, and they come out approximately 7 seconds ahead of their teammate, maybe 6.5 or thereabouts. So indeed, Homesick Alien looking good at this stage to potentially take the last points playing position. Alphanut did make their mandatory pit stoppers very early on. You can see their tyres really taking a beating. Little bit of a lockup. At least it seemed like it was putting a lot of pressure, so it started smoking. The gap between the two leaders, it's down to 2.2 seconds. This is what I was on about. Nils has really just put his head down and has really just found the pace in order to catch to King of Torque. Once he's in the slipstream range, which is 0.7 seconds, it's really going to be a fantastic fight, and I think it could go down to the line with that one. Stig starting to fall back a bit, it has to be said, but he's still in the range where if these two do come together, then he's going to be there to capitalize. King starting to have to fight the car again. That's a bit concerning, as someone else had a real big slide on. Who was that? I think that was Bandit. Let's just see this. It looked like there had a massive slide coming out of first chicane. Just see what it was. Just really putting on the power, and has somehow managed to keep that on the road. It's a 0.5 second penalty again. Every time we go back from the replay footage to the live footage, Bandit ends up with a penalty. I don't know why that's the case, as he just runs into the gravel a little bit again, but it just seems to happen. Nils continuing to catch up. 1.4 is the gap. I don't think there's damage to the car of King of Torque. We would have lost a lot more time if that was the case on the straights. So Nils really just coming into his own. He's certainly going to be able to catch before the end of this race. He's currently holding the fastest lap of the race at 147.110. That's absolutely electric pace. And the gap dips under a second for the first time. It goes back over now, but that's gonna certainly be putting the pressure on King of Torque. Got a fantastic finale. It's all building. Everything is building up. These two still continuing to close the gap a bit. Nils loses a smidge of time through that second chicane. If I recall, he did say that he was having a bit of difficulty with that one. And in fact, the gap 1.5 seconds. It's increasing a smidge now, isn't it? 1.7. So King, maybe he had a bit of extra speed within him in order to just keep Nils out of that slipstream range. Nils gaining a lot of time through a scurry. It's gone back down to 1.2 seconds. Still charging along. It's still King of Torque who is our race leader. Helmet says 16, car says 98. You know the drill with him. You're gonna go on board with a rear wing cam on King of Torque's car. There you see the gap. There is Nils right behind him, that yellow and black speck. Charging him down. Seeming to run a bit less downforce than King of Torque on the straights. Because the M6 of Nils seeming to be just faster on the straights than King of Torque. So King of Torque's set up more downforce, more benefit in the corners. That would explain why he was gaining a fair bit of time through there. Coming up to chicane 2. King currently on a personal best lap. Nils gaining a fair bit of time. The gap back under a second, but King just about keeps it back over. Perhaps the dirty air effect is what's keeping this gap relatively stabilized at around 1.1 or 1.2 seconds. Nils not able to really get much closer than that, at least at the moment. Still charging his way through. Not that many laps remaining in this one, actually. I think after this one it's going to be 6 to go. And in fact Nils with a very good run, and that is very close to the 7/10 range that he needs. Once he gets in that range, I think it's game on. It's now 8/10. We're going to go on board with Nils's car. You can see on the Delta, he's able to get more time on the straights. He's not going to be quite close enough to benefit from slipstream on that straight. Maybe if he manages to get close enough to the next run. Oh, look at that, he closes up massively through the first chicane, and no doubt he'll be having the slipstream through Curva Grande. He seems to have a faster exit as well according to the Delta than King through the first chicane. It is indeed game on for the lead with 6 laps remaining. Nils is charging his way through. Purple sector 1. Backs out. Just trying to set himself for a very strong exit. Does so. Gonna go back to the outside cinematic footage. Nils all over the back of King of Torque now. All that persistent chasing is starting to pay off. Can our pole sitter right what he felt was wrong? We shall see. He's looking to the outside. Thinks better of it on this occasion. Very measured approach. Watch King of Torque's car for a moment. Last lap was a 147.9. Carbon has actually got new fastest lap. It's 147.090. So that's very good pace from Carbon. Has to be said. again, Nils will be in the slipstream range for this straight, but it'll be the first time he'll be properly in the range on the start-finish straight, at least. There's a 149.0 by King on the last lap. That's not good enough. Nils will be charging down the outside line as King defends the inside. Good racecraft. Very good racecraft by King of Torque to manage to keep Nils behind for now. Nils again just gaining and gaining. He's looking to the outside line as he thinks a bit better of it on that occasion. Knows he doesn't have to risk everything at this stage, and perhaps also knows that he's now trying around Lesmo 1 on the outside. That was quite an interesting move. Very opportunistic, so maybe he's just throwing everything at it. But it doesn't have to, because what he needs to do, he realises that if he does get ahead of King of Torque, then he has to break the slipstream, and that's probably not going to happen. Which means that he needs to overtake King on around the last lap, it would probably have to be said, for King to not really be able to challenge in return. We'll have to see. Maybe he will have the pace in order to get out ahead. He's ghosted temporarily. Has he got a penalty? Nils has a penalty. That's 0.1 second. He really just needs to hold on to the slipstream. I think he's just dropped out of it. So that must have been picked up going through a scary. He'll be kicking himself for that. Luckily his car's set up very strong with the low drag. And should easily... Yep, there goes the penalty. And now all focus will be back on charging and catching King of Torque. But now there's a 1 second gap between the two. That might have cost Nils his chance. But can he catch back up? It's at times like this that I am very glad that we don't have commercial breaks here on the Dynamic Racing League's YouTube channel. Again, King's car looking a fair bit faster in the corners, which will definitely allude to having a more downforce-based setup. Both M6s, the M6 in general, rather just solid all-round car, especially on the downforce front. But two different teams running it, with two different tuning philosophies, it would have to be said. Making their way through a scary. Nils running a smidge wide. The gap over a second again. Neither of these cars have damage. It would seem tyre wear is fairly even between them as well. King of Torque making the most of the fact Nils is out of the slipstream. Has opened the gap to 1.1 seconds. Nils is going to have to find something extra. There is race leader King of Torque, doing an extremely good job of just staying consistent. There you also see TSR Stig, still currently third. I think he's being caught up by Carbon. Yeah, a little bit. 3.5 seconds is the gap between those two. Nope, 3.6. So those guys a little bit separated. Certainly the closest thing we have on track at the moment is the battle for the lead, and that is how it should be. On lap 30 of 32 here at Monza, and it's all or nothing for both of these drivers. Can Nils get back into slipstream range in time? Will King be able to do enough to fend him off? Was that Nils with another penalty? Temporarily got rid of it. Every time a car ghosts, I think it's fair to assume that they're serving a penalty. Let's again just drop Nils out of slipstream range. I think Nils is pushing a little too hard and just picking up those penalties that are stopping him from putting up another challenge. Really screaming tyres from the car of King of Torque. We're down 1.4. Things are starting to look really good for King of Torque at this stage. We're on to lap 31 of 32. The penultimate lap. Nils just needs to find something extra. The gap up a little bit again. King showing us why he is one of the top drivers in this racing league. Fantastic display by him. He's purple in sector 1. Meanwhile, Carbon has actually broken into the 146s with a 146.796. That's fantastic stuff. Looked like again it was Nils having to serve a little bit of a penalty. Oh, nearly did an alpha nut on that occasion. We saw what happened to that, alright. We managed to keep it on the road. Coming under the Brembo side for the second to last time. And now through to Ascari, we're going to go on board with Nilsson. There's the correct camera shot. He needs to wring absolutely everything out of the car on this one. The gap, 1 second. No real worries from third. TSR Stig is currently 5.9 seconds back. The gap increasing a little bit again. Perhaps that extra bit of downforce was the way to go in terms of setup. And Dynamic Esports are getting it right. Nils has to really just throw everything at it. Late on the brakes. Putting the power down extremely efficiently, gaining 2/10 in that one section alone. And in fact, is perilously close to getting back in the slipstream range. Things are heating up yet again. Oh look at this, he's purple in sector 1 as well. Needs a solid run through there. That was all very shaky, and he would have lost time from that. Perhaps King also a little bit shaky at times, but the gap, 1 second. If he was going to challenge, then Nils needed to be in the slipstream for one of the straights, not getting into it while on the straight. Needs to be there or thereabouts beforehand. And things starting to fade a little bit. They're making their way through Ascari for the last time. And there's one corner to go. Nils is not in slipstream range. Will he just go for a full-on send? He can't from that far back. And it is indeed going to be King of Torque who takes the race win here at Monza. A fantastic display by him to hold on, not crack under pressure. Well, fantastic job by him. Congratulations as well to Nilsson for putting up a fantastic recovery drive and nearly retaking that race win. TSR Stig will make up the final place on the podium. Congratulations to them. Great job by the Daqua machine. Dynamic Carbon Championship leader will have to settle for 4th on this occasion. It's points. And Bandit right up against the pit wall, celebrating, will take 5th position in the suicide prevention Aston Martin, and has now overtaken Dynamic Carbon. And it looks like, is Homesick Alien going to try and line up a formation finish with their teammate? Indeed they are doing so. Oh no! So that was interesting tactically because Alphanut is a full-time championship driver. Homesick letting them have that final point playing position on the line. Fair play, that's a thing, but King of Torque, of course, congratulations to them. Qualified on the front row of the grid and have cemented themselves with that race win. That was a fantastic drive by them. Here are your final results. In the end, it was 1.2 seconds, the gap between King of Torque and Nilsman. And then it was TSR Stig 9 seconds back in third, and Dynamic Carbon in the end off the podium. Will probably be kicking himself for that, and especially considering his main championship rival, one of his main championship rivals, his teammate King of Torque, has had a fantastic race on this occasion. Will be getting a load of points, should put him right back into the fight. GRM Bandit 33 seconds back in the end, but a fantastic result nonetheless for Moonshine Motorsports and for Bandit himself. And it was VRC Alphanut overtaking his reserve teammate, replacing Groot on this occasion, Homesick Alien, right on the line. So Alphanut takes the points of 6th, and Homesick Alien will finish the race in 7th. Gonna quickly see if we can get an interview with a certain person. Race winner. So I'm just gonna quickly set up a party chat. Gonna scroll through names that I know. A fantastic climax to the race, extremely intense stuff at the end of that. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure that you leave a like and all of that good stuff. Lads, congratulations on that race win, it has to be said. That was a fantastic drive from start to finish. Your thoughts on that, and you too, Q-Tip, on being the race engineer for that one.
Do you want to go first?
No, go on. You're the star man.
I got a good launch. Obviously got me ahead of Neil before turn 1, and then out of nowhere, Alphanut in his Audi came straight into the side of me, which made me touch Neil a bit, I think, and that might have compromised Neil's exit maybe. But other than that, bit of a lonely race, to be honest, but finally got my first win of the season and I'm very happy.
First win of the season? I find that really hard to believe, you know, that you've not been having as much success as, you know, you should have been, I suppose. You've been hampered with quite a lot of penalties throughout the season, of course, but this kind of result is exactly what you need to put yourself back in the championship fight, especially considering Carbon only managed 4th on this occasion.
Yeah, well, I've already checked that out. Gap is now 5 points, so I'll be coming for that title.
Spicy times indeed. It looked like it was going to be a very close fight to the finish between you and Nils, but in the end, you just managed to keep him at bay from the slipstream range, which seemed to be a real key in terms of making overtakes here. Was you feeling in control, or were you just feeling a bit pressured in that situation?
Well, I had Q walking me through what was happening. Basically, he was watching the stream because he wasn't allowed to stay in the lobby. Hashtag Crashgate. But yeah, with Q in my ear, it was just a case of keeping him out of the slipstream range, like you said, and yeah, we managed to pull it off.
Right. Q, out of curiosity, I noticed a difference because Nils and King both run BMW M6s. It seemed that Nils's car was quite a bit faster on the straights without slipstream. Did you potentially have set your car up for more downforce in the corners, and do you think that really made a difference here today?
Well, I mean, it was affecting our straight line speed, 100%. But King was happy with it during qualifying. He said that the car was, quote, perfect. So I didn't want to make any changes to it. So I say, you know, just get the car out, see what we can do. And but yeah, Neil was very, very quick today. He'd done a fantastic job. But yeah, King was very, very well planned today. I was very happy that we didn't do what we did in the last race at
Shut up.
Trail. The big point of today was just not to get any penalties, and I believe King only got one, which was a silly mistake for him, in fairness.
Yeah, I locked up pretty bad into second chicane.
Yeah, Nathan. But no, it was a really, really cool race. The strategy was quite hard to deal with, but we came out on top.
Yeah, fantastic result for you guys. It really does put you back into the championship mix. Thanks for this interview that we've managed to have with you today. All the best going forward in the championship, and hopefully taking the fight to the series organizer, the villain of the series, as we now call him.
I want that title.
He'll do it.
I lost out last season by 1 point, so I want it.
Oh yeah, and then I had to retire, didn't I? No rematch.
Yeah, because you couldn't defend it.
Yeah, dear. But synchronized no daring as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, a fantastic race though. I just want to say before we leave, congratulations to Nils. He drove a fantastic race. Got hampered a bit at the start, but he did great to recover, so well done to Neil.
Right.
And of course Stig and everyone else.
Yeah, it's generally a really good race, I have to say. Very few incidents, like especially compared to like the Super Formula race we had here at the start of that season. That was quite an experience. Again,
alphas.
yes, we don't speak of those anymore. Again, thanks for having us have this interview with you, and of course, best of luck for the future. See you around.
Thank you very much. See you again.
Whew. That was quite a race, it has to be said. Carbon, yes, I do indeed have the replay. I'll quickly go over that. Yep, replay has already been saved. Great race all round, it has to be said. Came right down to the wire. In the end, King just about managing to fend off Nils. Great result for him, and the championship is wide open yet again. So of course, do stick around for future content. We have finished up the Super Formula season yesterday. If you didn't see that, then by all means check the stream. We did have a bit of technical issues with the stream initially getting it started, so there's 2 copies of it that need deleting, Carbon, if possible. So yeah, that's I think that needs to be done. But of course, it's fantastic action. A champion was crowned. I shall not spoil who it was. Going on to the next round of DTM, same time next week, same channel, different circuit. We're going to Red Bull Ring in Austria. So going to be a fantastic race again. That is a track that we have seen great racing in the past. Last season, no doubt, as well. If you want to check out the race that we had there last season, I strongly encourage to do so. It was an absolute blast. I believe that race, if I recall correctly, it was the race that was to commemorate the passing of Charlie Whiting as well. There was tribute stickers all around the paddock for that. So of course we're going back to Red Bull Ring on the 8th of June 2019, if everything goes well. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. I certainly have. this has been Nukeshot Zokyo of Dynamic Racing Leagues, still not part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels, signing out. I will see you next time. Bye, folks.